Welcome to the DeepMind headquarters in London. Similarly to how DeepMind has developed AIs for Go and chess, they are now working on an AI for StarCraft 2. Today, we're going to be joined by a variety of guests. They're going to help us to understand what DeepMind is doing here with StarCraft 2. And we're going to actually be analyzing some replays of the DeepMind agent actually playing StarCraft 2 games.
We are playing on just one map called Catalyst that used to be in the ladder, so it's just a full map. The game version we're playing is slightly old, is the 4.6.2. I believe that's the one that was played at BlizzCon for the finals back in November.
That's correct.
And then perhaps the last, not least detail is we are playing Protos versus Protos matchup.
I'm pretty excited to see this AlphaStar going up against a pro gamer.
First of all, thank you for having me. And it started with an email I saw in my inbox from Tim, who was introducing me to the DeepMind team via email and telling me that my feedback would be of interest to the project they're working on.
We are going to watch two of TLO's games. These games were picked because they're entertaining and they show something strategically that's interesting. Of course, we don't know what that is yet. TLO is making buildings right at that small choke point, that small ramp. This is a tactic that we use in Protos vs. Protos to make kind of a wall so that your opponent can't get into your base. But AlphaStar is skipping that altogether.
In a regular game, if we are casting this in a normal way, we say that these two adepts of TLO are guaranteed to kill 8-9 workers. And in StarCraft 2 terms, that means that you are incredibly far ahead. If you can pick off that many workers of your opponent early on, you are going to be very far ahead.
But look at this, getting backwards, kind of kiting everything with these stalkers, some good juggling going on. That Warp Prism's still alive, though very low on health.
Yeah, a couple of Stalkers are very low on health as well. Nice pickoff there on the Oracle. So both air units went down for TLO, but still has an expand. Is still trading out quite decently, I would say, in the middle of the map. I think this is maybe a moment where you can see that TLO is not a natural Protoss player, because I think the start was good for TLO, and I think there was time to be ready for this. It's still not over, but the army of TLO is very small compared to the army of AlphaStar.
Well, that is it. The GG is called the good game here from TLO.
So I started the match very confidently, especially when I saw those probes in the natural. I thought, okay, this is not right. Something odd is going on here. I thought, too, it was very worried about Cannon Rush. And I must admit, I feel I should have won that match, but made a lot of mistakes because I'm not used to being a Protoss player.
All right, we have loaded into the third game of this 5-game series, as this time in the right bottom side of Catalyst. We're looking in the main base of Liquid TLO.
This is what we would consider like a pretty standard Protoss vs. Protoss opening.
I actually love this. The adepts going through the middle of the map, but shading.
Oh my gosh.
That's some pro level play.
That was...
If you talk about minor things, like if you don't do this, if you don't let that shade finish up, your adepts will run straight into the forces of your opponent. I love how it went up the ramp. It picked off one probe as quickly as it could. This shade is not going to accomplish too much. I wonder if TLO cancels that pylon. He does.
Oh! He actually
amazing.
waits because it is a pylon and sneaks in right there.
Even though the Nexus was later, it's been ahead in workers throughout the majority of this game. Wow, these disruptor hits are becoming ridiculous.
Yeah.
TLO lost his entire army to these two disruptors.
Well, AlphaStar is pushing up right now again. Just continuous blasts here from the disruptors.
Oh, no. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a way to not be maxed out anymore then.
Yeah, AlphaStar blows up a lot of its own units here. The Phoenix is coming in and lifting up so many of the disruptors that will cancel their shots as they come out. It feels like AlphaStar is going to be able to take this game.
Well, not if it keeps blowing up its own units. But I mean, the amount of disruptors seems like it's a little too much to deal with. But it's not an optimal composition, but it seems like these numbers don't lie. GG once again. Wow, then.
Wow, indeed.
I'm not a Protoss player, and when I was practicing, most of the humans I played against played very standard StarCraft, so that was kind of my knowledge base. Going into these games, none of these games looked like any of the games I played on ladder.
Mana, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got here? What was this like for you to meet up with DeepMind?
I think it wasn't a day that TLO told me that this is going to be a DeepMind show match, and then very shortly after a couple of emails exchanged and I was introduced to DeepMind team, they took a very good care of me, and I arrived in London to play a couple of matches against the AlphaStar.
It is time. Let's go into game number 1 of Mana against AlphaStar.
Liquid Mana is going for the 2 Adepts, like TLO went for in the very first game that we saw as well. And normally, this is cute. All right, talking about proxies.
Yes, yes.
But normally you would say that the 2 Adepts of Mana should be able to get quite a bit of damage done in the main base of AlphaStar.
Okay, the 2 Adepts get into the main base of AlphaStar, and AlphaStar is actually losing a fair amount of probes so far. AlphaStar does have way more Stalkers here than Liquid Mana does, but with those shield batteries to heal them up a little bit, maybe Mana can hold on. Well, this is not over yet. The Immortal pops out, but instantly targeted here by AlphaStar.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, AlphaStar could have enough units here to actually win this game. Okay, so GG is called, and AlphaStar actually pulls it out.
If I would be playing against a human player right there, nobody's going up that ramp, especially after I scouted the 4-gate like twice, so I was just confirming it. Going into game 3, I was like, yep, this is the time that I need to turn it around.
Look at this.
AlphaStar is for the first time making that wall that we've been talking about. This is the normal standard for human players. You know, you could get a little bit nervous that those Immortals will really punish your Stalker count.
That's very dangerous Stalker movement there. Those sentries would have been a tiny bit closer. AlphaStar could have lost a lot of units there. Force field does go down. The Phoenix is trying to get that Warp Prism. I mean, it's something we see in professional soccer play very often.
Yeah.
I feel like this AlphaStar is showing a lot more respect for force fields and ramps and movement in general.
Well, it comes in, and this is the big battle right now. The Phoenix is just lifting very important units, picking some of them off, taking them out of this battle, and Mana actually has to recall what he has left over. AlphaStar's decision-making so far in this game has actually been fantastic, only taking engagements when it knows it can win. This has been a fantastic game from AlphaStar so far. It looks like, you know, the game 2 looked very strong, but this game overall, it was like not exactly human play, but a lot of respect, fantastic control on the units, good moves running away, and Mana has to GG here.
So game 2 and game 3 were quite similar. It was a Phoenix control that really carried AlphaStar to the victory in these games.
Let's go ahead and get into that game number 4 out of 5 here.
If you're asking me what is the one big difference that AlphaStar is doing that almost no other professional StarCraft to play does, is the amount of workers that is being produced on one base. You take a look at this mineral line, and once again, you are technically mining more minerals, you know, up to 24. You're like going over 24 is 100% pointless, but in general, going from, you know, above 16, there is just very slow progression, and we have decided as community that you really don't want to go over 16 too much. Maybe 18 is acceptable, but normally you don't see 24 workers on one base. Composition-wise, there's absolutely an advantage for Mana, but you can also say that the ball is in the corner of AlphaStar. AlphaStar needs to make plays happen, but if there's one unit in Protos versus Protos where you can say you can get value out of them, even though you've made a lot of them early on, it is in general the Stalker. Now, 29 Stalkers don't want to fight this straight up. There is a shield battery, there are Immortals, there are stasis traps that will freeze those units, but let's see if there is some potential here.
Okay, losing a few of them here and starting to pick off some of the Immortals. Now, a Stasis Ward gets tripped, so that's definitely going to help Mana a little bit. Oh, that was a great pickoff right there, and getting the Disruptor as well. Oh my gosh, AlphaStar with the pure Stalker strategy. Mana has made so many Immortals this game, I can't even count how high. And the fact that it has been defeated by literally pure Stalker, the unit that the Immortal most counters. It's so surprising, and GG is called by Mana there. And I tell you, you put out a wonderful game for Mana.
I was very, very disappointed I lost this game because I thought I have everything that I need to defend this. Immortals, Oracles with Stasis, shield batteries, decent upgrades, but they could have been better. I had only +1 and very, very late charge. But like 8 Immortal versus Blink Stalkers?
Yeah.
Come on.
We have one more match here tonight. We're going to have an exhibition match. Mana, you're going to play an even newer version. What is different about this agent that he's about to play?
Right. So as I'm sure Mana has kind of prepared himself to play this one game, we also wanted to prepare something quite special for him. So one thing that we kind of talked a bit about is the lack of a camera, even though there is kind of an implicit camera that looks around and does about 30 screens per minute. So instead of just carrying on training, what we did is we kind of started an agent from scratch that would learn to utilize the camera explicitly.
Let's go into this game, Roddy, and see what Mana can pull off. Now, again, this is Mana's point of view. It's the same map that we have been on Catalyst. So you see Mana up here. He's going to be the green Protoss. And, of course, we already know where AlphaStar is. It's in the bottom right. Mana now has scouted. He's playing a very standard game at this point. And we see that this agent of AlphaStar has decided to wall that top of that ramp. Well, overall, style-wise right now, what we've seen from Mana, he's scouting a lot. He has a probe out on the map that he's checking a lot of areas with. The Stalkers have been back and forth. So Mana's being careful, looking for anything AlphaStar might be doing on his side of the map that could catch him off guard. Wow, really good decision-making here. Actually sacrifices the Oracle for a couple of sentries. I'm getting chills right now. Like, what we're seeing from AlphaStar, this feels so far like the most human-like game that we've seen. Just the Oracles coming in and harassing, you know, maybe the Sentry trade wasn't something every pro will do, but overall, very, very good stuff. Yeah, AlphaStar is just playing so smartly and comes back in with double Oracle once again. Yeah. Eliminating quite a few probes, but Mana did cancel that Stargate like you mentioned. Like he's getting so much scouting intel that he does know what are the right choices for him. If Mana can continually lure AlphaStar back, that's a way that Mana can actually gain an advantage.
Another Oracle being produced, by the way. I mean, one Stalker being wiped in range of these Immortals. Mana's absolutely striking back here. We would use the term outplayed normally. I think in the first 6-7 minutes of this game, Mana was getting outplayed by AlphaStar. At this point, it seems like Mana has created an army that is too much to deal with. Even though there's quite a few Oracles, actually.
That is a lot of Oracles. You are right about that. If all of the anti-air units go away, the Oracles actually can clean everything else up, so we should not be counting out AlphaStar yet. AlphaStar cannot GG. AlphaStar does not decide that it has lost the game and then leave it. And that is that. GG.
It was very stubborn, wasn't it? Like, he really didn't want to leave. Like, the game was over for a long time.
I think the nature of StarCraft is that, you know, it's an incredibly rich and amazing space of strategies that can be played by both players. And I guess part of that means that, you know, it's you have to play extremely well, but even the very top players in the world don't win every single game.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really nice to see actually what happens on the other side of the table when actually it's possible to reverse it and see how what happens when AlphaStar actually loses a game. And so I'm just really grateful for you to actually showing us that side of the game.
Yeah, we want to thank the entire DeepMind team and, of course, Mana and TLO for the games. Don't forget, there's going to be a lot of information as well as all of the replays, the archive videos and everything going up on the DeepMind site. And other than that, thank you very much for watching.